Well, howdy, 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 nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys and girls, and welcome to this another brand new day. In my pocket, I have a hamster, and he's a mighty, mighty nervous little fellow. This is, of course, little Janus, little Figmo, and he is so nervous. I mean, all hamsters are very nervous. They're rodents. They have to be nervous. They're prey animals. They're bottom of the food. Well, it's not a food. There's no such thing as a food ladder. It's a food chain, a food net. Everything is connected, and so it's not, you don't stack it up. I mean, you can, because, you know, there's prey animals, you know, microorganisms, stuff like that. But in general, it is a food web, but they know where they are in the web of food. And so they have to be nervous. They wouldn't have survived this long if they weren't nervous. That keeps them alive. But this little fella, he takes nervous to new heights. It's a job. I had a little fella, like, back when I lived in my brother-in-law's garage, almost 3 years ago now. His name was Pat Nervous, named after Pat Benatar and her album Get Nervous. But he was just so nervous, but he would bite, because he would get scared and bite. He doesn't bite, but he is just, when I reach in to grab him in his cage, doesn't matter how I try to confound his instincts. He just throws his front feet up in the air. Oh, little guy, you see how scared he is. Oh, don't be so scared. He takes being nervous to new heights. It's not a hobby for him. He takes it seriously. He takes being a rodent as seriously as we take anything else. He is dedicated to the concept of being nervous. But there we go. I set him down, and he's not running. He's just standing, because that's one of the things he does. When he's down in his cage, he's constantly and he literally does that. It's just, every time I turn around and make a move, his terror looks so cute, but it's still terror. I wish there was a way to make him not so nervous. But all hamsters have personalities. They are as sentient as any of us. They're not as brain-powered as we are, of course, you know, but they feel, they understand things. Would they recognize themselves? Are they self-aware enough to recognize themselves if they looked in a mirror? Probably not. But they have this dim sense of I to them. But because there's not much brain power, there's a whole lot of instinct, and his instinct is just super powerful. Which is fine. I mean, he's a good little guy. It's just I wish there was a way to lower his anxiety level. Hokey smokes. I mean, woof. Yesterday, as well, my sincere apologies, I have to really top off my tanks on THC. I'm going to come back to the way I view THC in my body and all that, but because of that, I've talked how my voice box gets all caught up with mucus, because THC products, it's hot smoke or hot oil vapor being inhaled into your lungs. You're causing damage, and when you cause damage, there's increased mucus production. It's not enough to destroy you. And luckily, THC does protect against damage enough that it helps mitigate the damage from smoking. But there's only so much you can do. If I could just deal with edibles, I would. But the difference there is you take an edible, like I have these things, which are capsules. And like these ones are these the CBD ones? No, these are indica ones, which are 10 milligrams of indica THC. There's two types. There's indica and sativa. Indica has anti-anxiety agents in it, and it mostly affects your body. Sativas have anxiety-causing agents in them, and they affect more psychoactively. CBDs have 0 psychoactives in them and only affect you pain. CBDs only affect pain, only. THC has psychoactive effects and pain. All the other cannabinoids have psychoactive effects and help with pain. CBDs, just pain, nothing else. And so I take one of those capsules and one of these capsules, and it really helps. But the problem is, with all edibles, anything you take is going to take anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. Well, 45 minutes to an hour and a half to affect you. That's the problem. It's the same thing. I mean, it's food.
Death is silent, painless. I didn't know what happened. I was suddenly standing above my body.
If you get nutrients in your food, it's going to be a good hour and a half before it's out in your system properly, before you're getting proper nutrition out to all of your cells. If you're taking medications, like a pain medication, 45 minutes to an hour and a half for it to affect you. Same thing with THC and such. Inside of an edible, it's going to be 45 minutes to an hour and a half. So when you've got a judge like that, there's going to be areas where you have super overlap and other areas where there's no real overlap at all. This wears off before this comes into effect. And so it's ow. And so it's not very easy to judge. And the difference between smoking and eating is your lungs object. You are doing damage to your lungs no matter what. It's just the difference is incredible. But when you inhale it, it's 60 seconds and it's out. Well, IVs are 60 seconds or less. It doesn't matter what the drug or what you've put into your body, it takes 60 seconds to be dissipated throughout your entire body. It's everywhere in 60 seconds. I mean, when somebody injects a drug into your bloodstream, that's, you are not going to be like a drug or a poison, especially if it's a poison. It goes into your system. You don't even have time to say goodbye. That's why it's like if you're getting an injection, and you have it takes a massive air bubble, so don't even worry about air embolisms. But it's like if you have an oil-based substance that goes into your blood, you aren't even going to have time to call 911 before you die. It is going to get lodged, pain, death, if you're lucky. Because if you get something, a big wad of oil blocking, I don't even like to think about it, blocking off an artery, and it blocks off the blood flow to your entire leg, or an entire arm, or your heart, or your head. Oh! Now, it takes a good 100 cc's of air at one time as an air embolism before you're going to kill somebody. Smaller amounts of air, even just 1-2 cc, small bubbles like that, they dissipate. You're not going to die from that. I got a big one on that once when I was watching all these air bubbles go through an IV into my arm, and I'm going, is this going to kill me? I'm going to come back and haunt you. And it's like, no. And then the guy gave me a great big spiel on what the threats and dangers, and this is before I was in healthcare. And then it was like, oh, I'm still here. I didn't have a stroke or a heart attack or anything like that, so I guess it really is true. Thumbs up for that. I can't remember where and why I started talking about that. Oil, THC. There we go. See, I was able to trace it backwards. My memory's getting better. So yes, now let's quickly talk about the difference in damage again. Because smoking anything causes damage to your lungs. It's what you smoke that is going to indicate how much damage is being done. Because you're taking superheated smoke or superheated vapor, oil vapor, water vapor, whatever, into your system, and it burns you. It cooks you from the inside. And yeah, that does damage. And so you take damage, you heal damage, yes. But there's only so much healing that you can do. And the substance that you inhale makes such a huge difference. The big reason that smoking destroys your lungs so much is everything in tobacco is a carcinogen. Everything. Nicotine on down and everything they put into it is just a horrific carcinogen. And so when you've got this nasty, horrific stuff being dumped on top of the burning damage in your lungs, yeah, by the time you go from age 18, 20 years old to, say, my age, 56, your lungs are in really bad shape. They're like half gone, if not more, by the time you reach my age. That's awful. But I've seen autopsy pictures of lifelong tobacco smokers and lifelong cannabis smokers. And you can see the damage on the cannabis smoker, but it's just light damage. There's searing on the edges. There's a little bit of, chunks where the lung is gone. And they're damaged. But compared to the shriveled, blackened hunks that are left from the cigarette smoker, oh, there is such a huge difference. I mean, if you smoke cigarettes, you are going to die of lung cancer or some form of constructive COPD. I can't remember the first part of the word. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. God, I don't know why I couldn't think of the word chronic. But chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is any of the range of horrific lung diseases. So, I mean, yes, there are always those people that are like, yeah, I'm 108 years old and I've smoked a cigar every day of my life and washed it down with a pint of whiskey. But they're the outliers. They're the 1 or 2%. They're not the main body of people. And having worked in healthcare, I especially got to take care of so many men and women who are in their final end stages of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Oh, and of course my wife has COPD, but not because of smoking or anything. It was the massive radiation and massive chemotherapy because of her Hodgkin's lymphoma when she was a teenager. When she, about 8, 9 years before she died, they did lung tests on her, and she had, at her age of mid-30s, only 33% of the vital capacity of her lungs that she should have had as a woman of her age. And that's only 3% above, like, when you're at 30% or less, you are constantly feeling like you're ready to die because you can't breathe because you're not getting air. And so she had to live with that all of her life just because of the chemo and the radiation. I mean, her heart was nowhere near the size it should have been for a woman her age and size. She had been really, really heavy when she was younger. I mean, I topped off at 325 and she came down to 325 before we got married. So she was big. She wasn't, like boogie size, but she was big. But before the end, she weighed less than I do now. So she lost quite a bit of weight involuntarily, which was fine. I fell in love with her mind and her body. I didn't just fall in love with her body. I didn't just fall in love with her mind. It was the combination of the two. And so she wouldn't have been Jennifer if she hadn't been who she was. But yeah, her heart was just a mass of scar tissue. The surgeon came out to talk to me after doing surgery on her, and she had been dying on the table. If it had been another day, they wouldn't even have bothered to do surgery. They would have just been turning her as she was going out. So last moment, and her heart was just a mass of scar tissue They replaced 2 of her heart valves, and after that healed up within 5 years, another valve failed entirely, and then they just had to treat the last remaining one medically. Now, luckily, those 2 could have failed entirely, and she was still fine with the one she had. And it was ultimately kidney failure that got her because she was allergic to so much stuff, and they had to give her antibiotics or she would have died of sepsis. But the antibiotics used to get out of the sepsis finished off as it was left of her kidneys, and she died. And now, at a 90-degree angle, without putting on any brakes, slamming all the passengers into the door, and probably breaking a few windows as you slam your craniums into the glass. Sorry about that. I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments on my community tab, and I'm going to go through and thank 20 to 25 people. It is arranged because even with my memory getting better, I have fibro and more, and my memory sucks. And I am not going to read the comments right now. I'm just thanking you for having left a comment. So good comment, bad comment, and different comment. The fact is you left me a comment. Thank you very, very much. That is what is appreciated. If I mispronounce your username, no disrespect is intended. I'm an American English speaker. We're not really good at that sort of thing. So let me call it my Chrome. Hopefully I've got it here. Yes, indeed. In fact, I actually even opened up my comments like I was supposed to. Frankie Robalkova. Thank you very, very much. And Trinity, greatly appreciated. Tundra Keeper, good to see you in the comments. A good thing. Kathy Kits Cat, always good to see you in the comments. Thought Patrol. I hate that word. Leandro A. Well, acronym. Lego Post Malone. I like that name. Pumpkaboo. That's a cute name, too. And it's you, boy, Ritus Deltus Yeet Me. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Talon Stephenson, greatly appreciated. Chris Topher. Thank you very, very much. Red Knight Raptor, greatly appreciated. Sebastian Ferris, thumbs up and thank you. Stargazer, greatly appreciated. Trey Wallace, thumbs up. Alex Bales, thumbs up and thank you. Unstable B, greatly appreciated. Lynn XYZ, thumbs up and thank you very, very much. BR Billy William, greatly appreciated. Cypress TK, thumbs up and thank you. Deus Buchner, I hope I'm close. Thank you very, very much. And White, thumbs up and thank you. Runk, greatly appreciated. Mr. Mackie Brown, greatly appreciated. And Jules HD, thumbs up and thank you, each and every one of you. You get me out of my head, into the world, dealing with real people, and that is appreciated. Yes, I tank up. I take a look at, I figure I've got to keep my THC tanks full. It's the only reason I can move. So I'm absolutely terrified of not being able to move and hurting more than I always do. So I keep my THC tanks topped off all the time. If you see me on my webcam, I have either finished off a couple bowls or I have finished a couple oil dabs. I am never, ever, ever without THC in my system. It's the only reason I can do this. So hokey smokes. And, come on now, complete blank. If you can check out my various links, I have Twitter, Facebook, GoFundMe, Patreon.com, NearlySeniorCitizen.com, an awesome looking blog. Thank you so very, very much, Brian Glenn. I still keep falling asleep. I'm so sorry. I hate it. If you could donate to my GoFundMe campaign or become a Patreon.com patron, like one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be beautiful and awesome. But if you cannot donate, or you simply do not donate, I take all good wishes and deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest, so thank you very much. I am okay for January. We are good. I was terrified that my disability would not show up because of this whole government shutdown. My food stamps may not show up, so I could be hurting that way, but life is life. Thank you all so much. It is appreciated. It is because of you I have a roof over my head, and I am not homeless. Thank you. And let's see. What's the next part? Links and... oh yes, if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be very cool. Greatly appreciated. Definitely a thumbs up. I would understand if you don't want to. I mean, after that. And of course, if you could toss me a like, that would be greatly appreciated. I do appreciate every positive validation for my existence. Thumbs ups and thank you. And I'll try that in English later. So hopefully I've got a reaction video, hopefully a game video. I'm not sure what I'm doing with my game channel. So you take care. Have Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And that, my friend, is a very good thing.